Hi everyone, the small engine mechanic here. Today we are going to get a Cub Cadet snow thrower back up and running. This unit is brand new and only used once, but the fuel was never drained, so it went bad. So, it looks like it might just need the carburetor cleaned. To do that, we're going to remove the cover to get access to it. First we will need to remove the throttle knob. Using a pry bar can assist with the removal. Then, remove the choke knob by pulling straight up on it. Now, we need to remove the cover bolts. Don't forget this one. Now the cover is loose. We need to remove the top screws and loosen the bottom screws that are holding the controls on. The auger directional cable will pop out. Next, remove the primer bulb hose from the carburetor. Remove the carburetor intake cover using a 10mm socket. Then the breather hose. Next will be the fuel supply hose. Be sure to pinch off the hose before disconnecting. Now, slide the carburetor out some to disconnect the throttle linkage and spring. And now the carburetor is ready for cleaning. This bolt is for draining the carb on the machine. We're going to remove the other. I try to collect a fuel sample to see if there's water or anything else that's not supposed to be in the bowl. So, now remove the bowl. Then the float pin. The needle valve will come off with the float. Now, we're going to remove the main jet and emulsion tube. A jet removal tools is good to use, but, for this demonstration I'm using a flathead screwdriver. Once the jet is free from the threads, a simple tap will release the jet and emulsion tube. This is the main jet. The tiny hole in it must be cleared out. This is the emulsion tube. It normally has very small holes on its side that need to be cleaned. Now we will need to remove the pilot valve. To do that we will need to remove the idle screw. Once removed, simply pry up on the pilot valve. There is a tiny hole in the end that will need to be cleared if there is any debris in it. The fuel had started to varnish and you can see it here. So, now we're going to load everything into a basket and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Now that it's been cleaned, we can reassemble it. First, replace the emulsion tube. Then the main jet. The hole is cleaned out now. Screw it until it stops, then snug it down. Do not over-tighten it. The bowl O-ring is next. Then the float with needle. Now, the float pin. Now, the bowl. Remember to put the drain nut opposite of the supply tube. Then the bowl nut. And give it a little tightening. Drop the pilot valve in. It might need to be seated. Now, the throttle screw, turn it until it touches the throttle. And now, we're ready to reinstall it. If removed, replace the gasket. Slide the carburetor back on. Reconnect the throttle linkage and return spring. Check to ensure the throttle moves freely. Now, reconnect the fuel hose and clamp and remove the vice grips and check for any leaks. Then the carburetor intake cover gasket. Now the primer bulb hose. Where replacing the cover, make sure the choke lever goes in the hole. Is it just me, or do you see a weird face here? Now, replace the cover screws. Then the throttle handle and choke knob. Reinstall the auger cable in the bracket. Now, replace the upper screws in the handle. And tighten them all down. Just need to check the fuel level. Stop switch in. 3 pumps on the primer bulb. Adjust the throttle. And give it a quick test run. Now we'll take it outside and test it. Sounding good. Augers are working wonderfully. Eats snow up. So, that can only mean one thing.
It looks like another one is good to go.